Good morning and welcome to our presentation on integrated learning. My name is Laura Smith and myself and my colleague Kelly Rowling will be presenting to you today a discussion on two integrated learning approaches from Fogarty's Continuum of Curriculum Integration. For many years, teachers have been embracing an integrative approach to planning and teaching as it allows more flexibility and supports a more holistic view of learning. An integrated curriculum allows children that do not perceive knowledge in a compartmentalized manner to make sense of their learning. It reduces the pressure of a rigid and inflexible timetable and provides rich and genuine real-world contexts for learning, helping students to develop more efficient means of gathering and processing information. With this concept, Fogarty's Continuum of Curriculum Integration attempts to deliver a model which supports an integrated curriculum.
Thank you for the introduction, Laura. Fogarty's plan to integrate curriculum possesses 10 models which establish the notion that, if followed, the young mind can learn to accomplish an understanding of the world in ways which can be discovered and sought by one's natural curiosity and desire to inquire and learn. Fogarty's approach was broken into 3 distinct categories which each provide a specific intention for learning. The interdisciplinary category includes the fragmented, connected, and nested approaches and are generally used within subjects. The multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary category includes the sequenced, shared, webbed, threaded, and integrated approaches and are beneficial across subjects. And lastly, the transdisciplinary category refers to beyond subjects and includes the immersed and networked approaches. As time does not allow us to break into all 10 models of integration, Laura is going to later discuss the shared approach within this model. But first, I will discuss the fragmented approach. A fragmented approach to education falls within Fogarty's interdisciplinary category of curriculum integration. It establishes the idea that the curriculum is viewed through a periscope in that it has one direct focus and one discipline. Generally, this approach refers to learning such as reading or writing, mathematics, or a specialty subject, as these learning areas are usually single discipline specific. It is generally an approach which is considered a traditional method of teaching. However, Fogarty emphasizes that even though this approach has its limitations, it is still beneficial within the curriculum. This will be discussed a bit later on. Being so specific in its learning intention, where does this leave the fragmented approach as an approach to integrated learning? It holds its strength in developing new skills. Integration in this approach occurs solely within one discipline, which means that it is more focused and successful on building new skills. It is a clear view on what the learning intention is. This type of learning is the start of a progressive learning sequence established by Bronner's constructive theory, in that new knowledge can be learnt provided it is taught in the appropriate order. Though this new skill focuses on a sole discipline and may not have a significant connection to future learning to students, these skills are transferable and can be used to integrate further learning. Murdoch provides the notion that we need to have a refined skill in language, mathematics, and arts in order to be successful in knowing how to inquire, analyze, and communicate our thoughts. The fragmented approach is seen most clearly in schools through learning in textbooks and worksheets. This method or lesson plans set out one learning intention, whether that to be correctly learned numbers or letters or a new skill in arts or science. These books and worksheets require inquiry within the subject, as without a deep understanding of these concepts and knowledge, learning cannot progress and cross-curricular opportunities become more difficult. Keeping this in mind, the Australian curriculum provides general capabilities which are meant to be a focus across all learning areas. They help establish skills, knowledge, behaviours and dispositions which are relevant for being successful in the 21st century. These capabilities, however, are segregated across discipline-specific areas, being English, mathematics, science, arts, technology, HPE, languages, and work studies. Although it is the intention that these general capabilities are integrated across all learning areas, they are largely taught in a traditional manner. In this sense, a fragmented approach is suitable to this portion of the academic curriculum, which the Australian curriculum requires. As previously mentioned, Fogarty emphasizes the significant importance to the fragmented approach within the curriculum. This approach has a clear learning intention which leaves students with a clear set of goals and expectations. It is also a model which consistently sets the foundation for skills and knowledge that further promote integrated learning. In other words, it establishes a foundation to make further learning meaningful. Therefore, it is the most appropriate approach to integrate learning in many circumstances. Bean further provides the notion that this traditional approach to learning can be used to blend skills and information with relatable, real-world 21st century experiences. In addition, as it is considered a traditional approach to teaching, it is the method most teachers are most familiar with and are most comfortable teaching. It is also the most relatable approach to parents and therefore promotes family input and to students' learning. It can also set a clear routine for students who require that type of structure to their learning. Contrary to the previous slide, a fragmented approach will not accommodate for those students of other intelligences suggested by Gardner, and therefore it is not a one-size-fits-all approach to learning. The skills and knowledge learnt in this approach are difficult for students to see the connection to future learning without any practical experiences. It is therefore important that the learning within this approach is integrated into other learning areas so that the skills are relatable to 21st century living. Further to this, teachers may find it difficult to integrate these skills and knowledge into other learning areas. There requires planning and collaboration with other educators in order for this to occur. Fogarty's continuum of curriculum integration as a whole is an elaborate set of approaches which, in theory, moves away from knowledge being taught to that of students actively learning. The fragmented approach to learning on its own does not achieve this, and therefore, without students being actively engaged in inquiry-based learning, teachers risk students becoming uninterested and limiting their learning potential.
The shared approach is described by Fogarty as being multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary, as well as viewing the curriculum through binoculars and bringing two disciplines together into a single focused image. Through the use of the shared approach, related disciplines are brought together and partnered with lessons planned to overlap ideas and concepts. Using the shared model allows teachers to enhance their teaching practice and means that more of the curriculum can be integrated and therefore covered at one time, benefiting both the teacher and the students. The shared approach has been used before it was officially identified as a model for integrated studies, though it would have been used unintentionally and without a clear structure. The difference is that now it is used with purpose and with the goal of achieving and reporting on students' knowledge and understanding of two subjects with one lesson. Individual subjects should remain distinct and achievement standards for each subject are required, though through integration of common skills, the knowledge and understanding is enhanced. The constructivist theory greatly supports integrated studies by harnessing the approach that students learn through inquiry and build on their existing knowledge. Theorist John Dewey states that constructivism focuses on the teacher guiding the lessons. Developing students' existing knowledge and making connections between subjects helps students to better understand and learn. Knowledge is shared between teachers and students, and in this theory encourages the use of cross-curriculum integration. The shared approach may be used when two teachers teaching different subjects come together to work through and identify possible overlaps of course content in which they could bring the lesson together to teach at the same time. Alternatively, a self-contained teacher may plan a lesson which includes both science and social studies, thus encompassing two subjects through one shared learning experience. An example of where this approach can be used is in the classroom when teaching the subjects English and sustainability. The Australian curriculum states that English helps students develop the skills necessary to investigate, analyse and communicate ideas and information related to sustainability and to advocate, generate and evaluate actions for sustainable futures. An activity that could be designed using the shared approach would be for students to investigate how to recycle. Students would need to research how to recycle and whilst doing so expanding on their language and literacy skills as well as developing a deeper understanding for sustainability. Throughout this activity, children will also develop the understanding and skills necessary to act responsibly and create texts that inform and persuade others to act for sustainable futures. Planning is incredibly important for this approach to ensure when encompassing two subjects within one lesson that the students receive the benefit and knowledge of both and one doesn't seem less important than the other. There are several benefits to a shared approach, one being that it can be used in the classroom for a range of children with diverse learning capabilities and is not considered constrained by subjects or age groups. This approach does require planning and assessments to be carried out efficiently to ensure enough of both subjects can be covered within the lesson. Support for a shared approach to teaching comes from multiple avenues that include teachers looking to reduce the volume of work throughout the curriculum, advocates of the knowledge economy who value learning processes that are directly relevant to economic development, and academics that have seen the benefits resulting from an interdisciplinary approach. This approach is seen to be used in the Australian curriculum's general capabilities. Within the general capabilities subjects are linked to one another, showing how a content descriptor can be achieved through not just one but two subjects. The general capabilities have been called the 21st century skills, which include skills such as innovation, critical thinking, problem solving, and collaboration. Teachers may be hesitant to use this approach for multiple reasons. Perhaps they don't work well with other teachers, so creating a lesson across multiple classrooms doesn't achieve the desired outcome. One teacher may be more heavily invested in their subject area, so the lesson doesn't balance both subjects accordingly. The lesson might focus too heavily in one area and not enough in the other, therefore the students don't gain enough knowledge for both and one of the subjects must be retaught. Another reason integration using the shared approach might not take place is due to teachers' commitments and time constraints. We know that teaching is a very busy job and finding the time to work to successfully integrate two subjects might not be feasible and therefore unsuccessful. The shared approach is not suitable for all subject integration. There are some subjects that require an approach such as the fragmented approach, where the subject needs to be taught in isolation for the students to receive the full benefit from the lesson. Therefore, the shared approach would not be suitable. As society changes, so too will the teaching and learning methods change and continue to evolve. Both the fragmented and shared approaches have pros and cons associated with them, and they are supported by theorists and teachers using these frameworks within the classroom. Both approaches have a time and a place in which they are most suitable and valuable, and it is evident that it is important for us as teachers to be educated on how and when to use the most appropriate approach for the students and subjects that we are teaching to get the best outcomes. We want to make sure education is an enjoyable and rich experience for all our children so that they can reach their full potential and prosper in an ever-changing and complex world.